Okay, you guys, what is up? The King of Lightning is here today to do Toriko Chapter 235 review. Once again, that is Chapter 235 review of Toriko Sekaiwo. Now listen, this week's chapter of Toriko, a shit ton of exposition, a lot, and it's actually very important, because what it does, of course, the chapter is set into three parts, right? The last part and the first part being very simple, alright? But the middle part, where Toriko has a flashback, and he's talking to Ai, and when he learns about the ultimate routine, and what its foundations stem from, that's very important. Because this helps clarify and establish power that was set by Takimaru long ago in the series of Toriko. Because ever since Takimaru established a power scheme in Toriko, which was the pre-shot routine. And then the pre-shot routine that he would always do, now we understand, was to solidify an image in his mind of him being successful, I can't get the word right, successful in a particular attack. And he was removing all these idle thoughts from his mind and focusing only on the success of this attack. And thus, by doing so, increasing the potency of this attack by this impersonation. But no, by this impression. We never really understood, back in the day when Takimaru did his pre-shot routine, we never really understood what he was doing exactly. I mean, we understood that he was creating like this routine where his power would increase significantly. But now, by talking to Ai, by this flashback we get from Toriko, now one of the pre-established powers has been fully revealed. But basically, let me go and explain the first part of the chapter and then the last part of the chapter. So the first part of the chapter is basically, simply put, Toriko, he makes the dining table. You know, he has a fork on one side, a knife on the other, and basically, Starjun is in the middle of this plate. And I mean, that's happened before. Not against Starjun, but it's happened before in the past, obviously. Like, for example, in the last arc, the four beasts, he was on his last legs. I mean, well, basically he understood that, these are the proper shit. And at some point, when the kings made the Oshogubanzan, the four beast himself was on this, like, he was being surrounded by the impersonations of the four kings. And then he was on this plate. So it's happened before. And basically, we see Starjun on a plate, and like a big ass image of Toriko, once again, fork and knife. And apparently Komatsu himself can also see this image, which I think is the first time he's ever seen this ever. Because Komatsu has seen that impersonation. He's seen that impersonation of Toriko before. Like that demon with like the pointy ears, like the pink skin. He's seen that one before. But I don't think he's ever seen the actual plate and like something on the plate before, ever. And this is the first time he's actually seeing it. Like, whoa, like what the fuck's going on? So, and this is to actually show the power of the ultimate routine. And so that part is okay overall. And then the last part, again, and these two parts are very quick. And the last part of the chapter is basically Toriko striking Starjun with a fork. He goes flying back and he gets wounded like right here. And then the wound is like burning and it's smoking. And then he gets blasted back. And then Toriko states, that had some impact, right, Starjun? Something along those lines. And then that's the chapter ends. So I'm assuming that Starjun actually got either greatly wounded, or no, he's not severely wounded from that attack, but he's damaged from that attack nonetheless. It appears that he is more so damaged from that one attack than he was from Toriko's beginning onslaught, where he did the 50 ren dual cookie punches, the leg knife, and so on and so forth, when he got blasted out of the stadium. So, and that's supposed to be the end result. That, because basically that's the end result that's the result of the ultimate routine being done properly. I'm assuming properly, because Toriko, believe it or not, he's actually like a genius when it comes to him honing attacks and like learning skills. When it comes to the middle portion of this chapter, so beginning, end, overall okay. The middle portion is the obvious meat of the chapter, obvious, and it's solely exposition of of course, leader of the Gourmet Knights, talking to Toriko about the ultimate routine and how the ultimate routine stems from a bunch of things. All right, a bunch of things. Number one is an image, which is then stemmed from an impression, then self-confidence and concentration and the act of not doubting on some hockey shit, and then that's what like the chapter is. I mean, well, and then that's what it pretty much is. Like, those are the foundations of the ultimate routine. So let me explain even further, right? And I don't remember all the parts. I'm trying to, but I don't remember all the parts of the middle portion of the chapter because there was a lot of exposition. But here's the point that I understood, all right? The first thing is the routine itself. The routine is, and I'm going to say quote for quote verbatim because I have it right here saved somewhere. Basically, the routine, according to I, is a pre-selected set of movements, certain actions done in order to cement the image of a successful technique in one's mind. By performing those movements, you filter out any other idle thoughts, leaving only the successful image in your mind. The key point about that entire thing is the image. Now, the one thing that Toriko never understood is why is it that the end result is more powerful than the initial attack potency. And the key point to that is the impression. You give off the impression via the image. Because, and apparently it's some concept, I forgot what the concept was called, but it's like the words you say at some point in your life will actually hold true. I forgot what the concept was called, but apparently what I does in order to solidify this notion is that, because Toriko, he understands what the routine is. He understands it completely. And at first, he thought that I didn't do a routine. But I says, no, I did do a routine. And Toriko's like, you did. I mean, I didn't see it, but maybe you did. And I was like, oh, wait, no. I was like, wait, my bad, no, I didn't do the routine. And then he explains how he did the impression of the routine, that Toriko believed the impression of the routine. And then he explains right here, another quote I have verbatim, saved. I says, the image the routine holds is exactly the same as this. Giving a strong enough impression of it will make it actually occur. And then this is where it gets pretty deep. He actually imagines an ulcer forming in his stomach. An ulcer actually forms in his stomach. And then he heals the ulcer on the spot. He coughs off the blood, and then he heals the ulcer. This is to help solidify the whole imaging concept. And this is to explain, and this is what actually explains the increase of attack potency of the end results of the routine. Because what ends up happening here is that he explains this by saying how basically in a normal sense, people who are irritable make other people around them irritable. People who are happy make other people around them happy. When someone is talking, like when a very powerful leader, when a leader who's in a position of power gives a speech, and he's very charismatic, he gives this impression of hope and so on and so forth to the people who are listening to him. And that impression is, in their minds, reality. That impression in their minds is reality. And I mean, again, it's the same concept as holistic medicines, where holistic medicines, they're there. It's like there's no guarantee, there's no evidence that these holistic medicines will actually cure you of your ailment, like cancer or AIDS or so on and so forth. But it's the impression that these medicines give and the image of you being cured by them that may in fact lead you to being cured. If you believe that you're cured, then you may in fact be cured. And the holistic medicines are there to help you. They're there to give you this impression that you are cured from this cancer, from this disease. And that may or may not be the case. I've never heard of holistic methods actually being successful, but who knows? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But that's the whole entire point of the routine and why the attack potency is increased. And the whole entire point of the ultimate routine, in specific, the ultimate routine, is to create this ultimate impression where you remove all doubt. You exude this self-confidence, impeccable, quote-unquote, impeccable self-confidence, and unparalleled concentration of you succeeding like you know you will win via the imaging and the routine and exuding that impeccable confidence. And apparently that's like the form of the ultimate routine, quote-unquote, from Aimaru. The rhythm of victory, the image of winning itself, is the supreme routine, is the ultimate routine. So, like, it's very, like, again, like, it's a concept where I'm not really, like, a fan of it, because to me, I think imaging is just hocus pocus. But maybe if you actually strongly believe that could happen, maybe. But that's the whole entire point. The ultimate routine is the set establishment of the routine itself, and then simply put, removing all doubt, exuding impeccable confidence and insurmountable concentration, and creating this ultimate impression from that routine. So what Toriko is doing to Starjun right now is that he is creating this ultimate impression of his absolute victory. Absolute victory. That Toriko, he believes that no matter what happens, my victory is absolute. And that's why Starjun right now appears to be on the losing end. Because Toriko is just that confident right now. And that confidence is being magnified by the routine, by the impression, via him imaging that he will win, no matter what happens. So it's a very, it's a nice concept when it comes to manga and anime, but I really want to take it as far as the real world, alright? I just want to take it that far. I mean, if you believe that you will succeed, then go for it. But don't believe that your success is like absolute. Because in the real world, just because you believe in something strongly doesn't mean that it's actually gonna fucking happen. Or doesn't mean that or doesn't mean that it's actually the case. I mean, because I'm a very realistic person. So for me personally, I don't see it ever occurring in my mind in the real world. But if I believe I'm going to be successful, then sometimes it does occur. Then that's just me having confidence in myself. But if I believe that I'm going to be cured by this, for example, if I have cancer, and I'm going to believe that my cancer can be cured because of me simply knowing that it's going to be cured, I wouldn't go that far. I'm just saying. But that whole entire part right there is actually, it's very important for establishing a power that was already set in stone. That was already shown at the beginning of the series. Again, with Takimaru. So the chapter overall, the beginning parts are actually okay. The middle is actually pretty damn good. So overall, I'll give it a good chapter. It's a good chapter, mainly because of the exposition that went on in the middle. And it was kind of hard to follow for me at first, but then I started to understand it with the greater detail once I reread the chapter a few times. And I mean, I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. So I'm done. King of Lightning, be sure to, of course, rate, comment, and subscribe as always. Peace. Have a nice day.